Good morning, everybody. John here from Catbird Hill. So welcome back. The last video that I did, which is the one right before this one, I talked about making the next video all about our PTO driven wood chipper, our brush and branch chipper. But a little change of plans occurred. We've had an unusually warm stretch of weather here in southeastern Pennsylvania. It's about 50 degrees today. You can see I'm not really dressed all that warmly. So I'm going to take advantage of that nice warm weather, and I rented a wood splitter. I'm in the market to purchase a wood splitter. I really don't know exactly what I'm going to get, and I'm not going to buy it right away. I've been doing a lot of research online. I've also been watching some other of the YouTubers who have channels that focus on firewood production, trying to find out what they use, what they like, what they don't like. And I figured a really cool way to not only get some work done here, but also get some hands-on practice on, trying to find out what I might like, is to rent a machine that I can test out for a day or so and see how it goes. So I went to my local family-owned hardware store here in southeastern Pennsylvania, and they have a great rental service, and I rented this wood splitter, which, as you will see shortly, and I'm going to give you a little tour here of the splitter. This is everybody's dream, or at least it's always been my dream, that when you go to rent a piece of equipment, you actually rent a piece of brand new equipment that's never been used before. So I am the first user of this wood splitter. So the company is Iron and Oak, that's the manufacturer, and it's got a Honda engine, 37-ton wood splitter, trailer model, very, very sturdy looking, nice solid looking fittings on the hydraulics, nice set of wheels there. Everything looks really solid. All of the welds that I've seen on it so far look really, really solid and good. If you notice, there is a little bit of dirt on here. When I got it home late yesterday, I just ran a few rounds through it. And you can see the spoils of that there. I did a few rounds just to see how it worked. But, this is something that it's not like a $100 purchase here. This is something I want to take my time and really figure out what I want to get. So I thought this would be a good place to start. We're going to run it. We'll run some rounds through there, and we will talk about, what I like about it, what I might like to see different from my own wood splitter. So we'll get you all back in position here and try to get a good idea. Get you close enough so that you can actually see the action a little bit more. I think that probably should work reasonably well. All right, so we'll get our safety gear on here, fire it up, and we'll do some rounds, as I said, and then we'll talk a little bit afterward. out so far. Let's try to give you another perspective here from the other side. Okay, so did a handful of rounds there. You know, And I noticed this actually, I did about 5 or 6 rounds late yesterday before it got dark when I got the machine home. And there are a couple of things that I really like about it. It just seems like it's very well built. I mean, this thing is definitely heavy duty. You know, hopefully when we did a little tour of it initially, you could see how thick the steel is. You know, the number of bolts that are holding the guide tracks on. The welds are just real solid. It's got a nice finish too. I mean, there aren't any sharp edges that I could see on the metal. The hydraulic lines have a nice thick protective coating on their protective jacket. The fittings all look very high quality. Obviously, you know, maybe this is meant to be used for the rental industry, so maybe it's overbuilt. You know, it's definitely heavy duty, no question about it. The other thing I noticed too when I'm running it, it is rock solid. It just does not move. There's no vibration. I mean, you know, the wood isn't vibrating up here. There's no lateral play in the ram head here. That's really good. A couple of the things that probably would not work for me using a wood splitter like this on my property is you can see the size of some of these rounds. I mean, I'll give you just, this is what was left after all of that cutting that you saw in the previous videos. I mean, these rounds are pretty good size. Most of them are, you know, 12 inches or more in diameter. And this is all maple, and mostly maple and beech. This is really heavy wood. It's very, very heavy hardwood. And, you know, I definitely, even though I, you know, like to think I'm in pretty good shape, at some point I'm not going to want to spend a whole day manually lifting these rounds up onto the wood splitter. Now, this wood splitter does have a feature that allows it to be tilted vertically. I've done that before with wood splitters in the past. I've never liked that. I've actually found that to be more tiring and fatiguing, maneuvering the rounds on the ground up to the plate here than it is lifting them up. And then, you know, you've got all this mess on the ground versus being able to just chuck stuff off to the side like you saw me doing. The other thing, so I definitely would want a splitter that I could get a hydraulic lift. You know, you've seen those, most of you probably seen those before, where you just roll 3 or 4 rounds up onto the platform, you raise a lever and it lifts it up, and now you have 3 or 4 rounds ready to go, so you're not repeatedly lifting them. You notice how small these side support rails are here. This is, you know, this is probably only 6 inches wide, which to me is kind of ridiculous. I mean, unless you're splitting really small wood, but, you know, not many people are going to rent a wood splitter to split really small wood. So I definitely would want some wider side supports here. And the other thing, and probably the most significant thing from a production standpoint, is this is just a, you know, I guess what would be considered a one-way or a dual splitter, where it's just a single splitting head. You know, when you have a round that's 12, 14, 16 inches in diameter, it's a lot of what you saw me doing, you know, taking out the piece that's been split, turning it, splitting it again, a lot of back and forth, versus if you had a 4-way or 6-way splitter, you could take care of that round probably in one pass. So it'd be a lot more efficient. So I definitely think those are some of the features I'm going to look for in the splitter that I'll end up purchasing for the property here. So that's my initial impression of this. I think it's an awesome piece of equipment, and you know, for $100 for 24 hours, I'll get all this wood split today, and I think it's you know, it's money well spent. Plus, I'm learning a little bit more about the splitters. So if you guys have any thoughts on splitters that you've used before that you really like, that you think would be heavy duty, keep in mind, you know, we've got a 10-acre property here. There's a lot of tree and forest management on this property, so this is a splitter is something that's going to be used pretty much year-round. I'm not going to be, you know, splitting and selling 30 or 40 cords of firewood a year, but you know, the splitter is something I probably would have out, you know, 3 or 4 times a month at least, just to split whatever either falls down or I have to cut down. So if you have any thoughts, what you like about wood splitters, brands, features and so forth, please leave me a comment. Stay tuned. We are going to do that video coming up very soon. We're going to be getting some rain the next couple of days, so I'm probably going to let things dry out, but we'll probably next week we'll get the wood chipper video going, and we'll talk about, you know, that PTO wood chipper that I've had for a while now. Thanks again for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like these videos, please click the like button, subscribe, put the notification bell on, leave comments. Trying to grow the channel, as you know. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again next time here on Catbird Hill.